Today in the racing life, we're going to attempt to blow up the red car. So today what we're going to do is we're going to install a manual boost controller. So I picked up a couple of these off of eBay, just some of the cheapy guys. I actually had to go through them with the air compressor, and all the springs and the check valves were backwards. So kind of funny. So hey, if you guys are buying these things, go through your check valves because otherwise they do nothing. It's going to be moon boost. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an experiment. First and foremost, we're just going to see what happens in the car when we are running a little higher boost. So currently we're at like 13 pounds of boost on the car, and it's great. It hooks up good and it works very well, but I need a little bit more power, to keep up with some of these guys. So we're going to set this up with the manual boost controller, and I want it to be around 18 pounds. I think 18 pounds is going to be the max pressure I'm going to put through this thing. I do have 30 thousandths ring gap on both, 30 thousandths upper, 28 thousandths on the second ring, and that should be okay. But I don't want to put any more pressure than that because you're just on borrowed time. Well, you're probably on borrowed time no matter what, but you're on less time with higher boost. So I'd like it to last the rest of the year if possible. So here's what the plan is. We're going to go through, hook up the manual boost controller, get like 4 pounds more boost into it or so. Once we get the timing map set up and we get the fuel map set up, because then I'll have consistency in the boost pressure. Once I get the timing map and the fuel map dialed in at the higher boost levels, then I will then in the future turn back on the MAC valve. And when I originally installed the MAC valve, I didn't realize that I had wastegate. I didn't realize when I originally purchased the wastegates, I didn't realize that I had purchased 20-pound springs. So you can buy them at different levels, and traditionally, classically, they come with 14-pound springs. That's what I've always gotten. So I just made the assumption that these ones were 14-pound springs. So I didn't realize that until after I initially hooked up the MAC valve, and I did end up hitting boost cut. So I was like, what the heck? This thing should be, and boost cut at that time was set at 23 pounds. Luckily for me, I had pulled a half a degree of timing out per pound of boost. So my timing was down in the dumps because I already had a conservative timing map in it. So that saved the engine. But I was thinking, what the heck is going on here? Why is that, because the duty cycle that I had for the MAC valve, it should have made like 16 pounds, 15 pounds, but it made 23. Which then made total sense once I discovered that I had 20-pound springs in the gates, because it went up from 20 pounds, not 14 pounds where I thought we were. So anyways, life lesson learned. Nothing, no harm, no foul. I didn't blow anything up, at least I don't think. So we're going to take a look at it. We're going to get the manual boost valve set up. We're going to make a couple hits. We're going to collect some data, and then once we get everything comfortable, at least when I have everything where I'm comfortable with the timing and the fuel, then we're going to convert that over to the MAC valve. So let's get rolling. Let's just take a second real quick and let's just talk about what a manual boost controller is. So a manual boost controller is basically a metered air leak. So right now, how I have this set up is boost pressure comes out of the turbo housing, goes around through a line and comes up to the wastegate. So it's basically plumbed to the bottom of the wastegate. This line right here is a diaphragm, and the diaphragm is sealed for pressure. So you can, and then inside there is also a spring. So inside this housing is a spring, holding the diaphragm shut. So as the turbo spools, it builds up pressure in the exhaust system. It actually builds up pressure throughout the whole entire engine, and that's why a turbocharger is so unique. Because you're not only pressurizing the inlet side, but you're also pressurizing the exhaust side. So this inside here is a diaphragm that separates these two, and there's a port below the diaphragm and there's a port above the diaphragm. So how I have this set up, since I have a 20-pound spring in here, is that I just have all of the boost pressure coming out of the housing. It comes around in a plastic 1/4-inch line, and goes into the bottom, which helps open it up faster because it's applying pressure and pushing against the spring at the same time that the boost pressure is also pushing and forcing against it. So we're helping it open faster. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do a modulated leak. We're going to basically take and we're going to turn this, and it's going to leak a little bit of pressure every time you give it a click. So what will happen is that as this thing leaks off, less boost pressure gets to the bottom of the diaphragm, which then means that it'll stay shut longer. So in theory, that's how all this is going to work. So all I've done is I've basically taken the manual boost controller, I tied it into this side, I took one and I tied it into this side. So this side of the car is ran off of this turbo housing. This side of the car is ran off of this turbo housing. So all I've done is I've just zip tied these up, got them out of the heat. I've used some zip ties. I gotta put a zip tie in there. I've ran some zip ties and just kind of put it all in line. So now we're gonna do no clicks, and we're gonna go for a cruise. Okay, so I went through and I checked out the Holley. If we hit 20 pounds of boost, I'm gonna be at 18 degrees of timing. I think that's gonna be fairly safe. You know, I run ethanol or E85 fuel, so I'm guessing that we shouldn't have too many issues, but we'll see what happens. So right now, first test number 1 is installed manual boost controller with no clicks. With installing the boost controllers, I just set 16.7. So exactly what I suspected was going to happen happened. So we'll test it again down here. So this is our first test. Boost controllers are hooked up with no clicks, no turns in the knob. So found the rev limiter pretty quick. The rev limiter is sitting really low right now, and just because, you know, I don't know. Yeah. Oh, we blew something. We blew something. Antifreeze. Maybe I lifted a head gasket. I got water on the windshield. Dumb shit. I'm overheating. I didn't turn on my fuel pump or my water pump. Oh boy. too. So luckily it's full of water and everything, so full capacity cooling system. I don't think it'll cause any issues, but you gotta make sure you're thinking. So manifold air temps are at like 110. It's actually pretty cool out right now. We've already hit the cooling systems down to 180 degrees. So we're gonna take a peek, see what kind of action we got out there. So we went out, made a couple of test hits. I hit 19 pounds at one point. So in drive or in third gear, just with hooking up the manual boost controllers, literally no clicks in them, just hooking them up because I know there's a restriction in those. So just that restriction alone put me at 19 pounds. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna review the data log and take a look at everything. Like a total buffoon, I didn't flip on my water pump, which I wish I would have. So the coolant temperature got up around 240 degrees, which, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I just flipped it on, everything's fine. It ended up blowing some, I got this really sophisticated catch system here. It ended up pushing it into here, and then, just from wind and stuff, it blows it all over. So that's what we're seeing. It blew antifreeze up and it ended up getting on the windshield. So hopefully no harm, no foul. So I think we're gonna be perfectly fine. But again, no clicks, just hooking these two guys up in line. Just hooking those guys in line. Took it from 13 pounds. I saw 16.4 pounds in second gear, and I saw 19.3 pounds in third gear. So, So basically, I was probably tiptoeing around 19 degrees of timing, maybe 18 degrees of timing. So we'll take a look at the data log and see if there's anything we could discover or improve upon by reviewing that. So stand by. Well, I don't know what happened. So it's like I had stopped the data log while I was driving, and I expected there to be the window to be still up, telling me where to save it. And either I bumped the dang thing getting it out of the car, or what, but it's gone. And so let me just do some. Let's do this. Let's go there. Okay. Not that I plan on crashing, but, just in case. And I do have it, so I might as well use it. spilled. It's not the end of the world because I caught it. So we're cruising along, and I heard this thunk, and I'm like, what the heck was that? So I just kind of like started looking around, and I realized, I went to my voltage, and I realized I'm running like 12 volts. This thing should be running 14 volts. So I don't know why the belt keeps breaking. So I don't know. It's a serpentine belt, and I mean, it just snaps them, shreds them up. Oh boy. Oh, the fan's turned on! Dang it! The fan's turned on. Shucks! Gets me every time. Fans turn on, they pull such a high amount of voltage that that it just, there's not enough voltage for the car. So yeah, that's gonna have to let it cool off. So hopefully it'll have enough juice to start. I just unplugged the fan. Back at the shop. Okay, so I got a data log. I was able to save it, kick the belt. Weird thing is I kicked the belt after all that. I was just cruising, so I'm gonna go see if the belt is still sitting there, and I hope to God this thing's recording. Quick drop. Turn some lights on. Oh yeah, still there. Sweet. Sweet. That's awesome. The belt popped off the crank. So there she is, just sitting on her. I'm curious to see if it snapped. You know, so I put the car together, and I had the car driving for quite some time. Never had a belt issue. What happened is the harmonic balancer bolt had loosened up, and the crank pulley was pulling off, which then boogered up my original belt. Since then, I've been buying replacement belts. One belt just completely snapped in half. Just snapped in half. Picked it up off of the highway. I'm like, it's just snapped in half. Seemed a little unusual. Second belt was the belt that we fragged going down to Street Machine Nationals. That belt, it's like the belt broke and then wound up on the alternator, and it just was like, it just unwound itself. So I had to pull the whole thing off of the alternator. This belt here, I'm not sure, but it most definitely popped off. Now, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. I spewed a bunch of antifreeze out, so it might have caused some issues with it popping off. So I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. But anyways, I'm gonna take a look at this. I'm gonna get the data log set up, and we'll take a look at that stuff here. So from this, just so you guys know, we're at 16 seconds. So from here all the way to here, we are at 1 second time. So throttle position goes all the way up. Boost is at 18. Fuel pressure is at 52, 51, 48, 47, 48. Not good. And then it took a second or two because I let off the fuel, left gas. Fuel pressure spiked back up. So I got to take a look at fuel pressure, figure out what's going on there. Should not be dropping. So I got to figure out what's going on there. Maybe I got a pump issue. I don't know. I got to take a look at that. Target air fuel on here. I got to take a look at that too, because at target air fuel at 13.2 at 18 pounds is no bueno. no bueno. So I'd like to put a little more fuel in it. So the air-fuel ratio is a little bit on the lean side. So I think what I'm going to do is I will most definitely make adjustments to the air-fuel ratio. We'll make sure that we're requesting in this high boost. I don't know how, I'm not sure why it's only targeting 13.2 air-fuel ratio at 18 pounds. That's asking for trouble. So I got to take a look at what's going on there. And then I got to take a look at the fuel pressure. But, you know, the car didn't blow up. Okay, so what did we learn? Well, we've learned a few things. We got some work to do for sure. We learned that we figured out that we've got a fueling issue when we get into those higher boost numbers. I didn't have a fueling issue when we were around 13 pounds. It was maintaining fuel pressure very well. So I might just have some issues going on with the fuel pumps. I do have a dual fuel pump setup on here. It just seems a little strange to me that I'm running out of fuel, but I'll take a look at that. Second thing we learned today is that on the data log is that it seems like it's got too much timing in it. So the handhild's telling me that it's pulling a certain amount of degrees per pound of boost, and I've got that set up that way, and it's supposed to be at 18 degrees. So I got to figure out why there's a variance between the ignition timing here and the handheld and what the handheld's telling me. So I got to investigate that. Luckily, we didn't blow anything up. So, I mean, we went into this kind of like starting off saying, hey, we're going to blow up the red car because, you know, that's usually how it goes. But we did break some stuff. You know, we kicked the belt off. We were stranded on the side of the roof a little bit. Luckily, we were close to home, so it wasn't really a big deal. But I was able to just unplug the fan, which I got to remember to plug that back in. So I've got to plug that back in, otherwise, my goodness, you can already see what happened there. So we put the manual boost controllers on. All we did is put them in line. We did not even give them a click, not a single click. So that's interesting, and I kind of thought that's what was going to happen because they're a restriction. So I got a quarter inch plastic line going into the wastegates, and putting those in, just installing the manual boost controllers in line created enough of a restriction to make the boost levels that we were looking for. Made a little bit more than what I'd want, but all in all, I think it's going to be okay. So what it tells me is that now that once I get the Mac valve set up and plumbed in, I can achieve under 20 pounds of boost. So I don't know, I got some decisions to make there, but anyways, so all in all, car's still together, so that's good. It was fun. I mean, the thing, holy crap! You want to talk about stuff happening really fast. I most definitely need to increase my rev limiter, which I set the rev limiter down at 6,300, just to be very conservative during Street Machine Nationals, because you know sometimes you get a little whooped up, and next thing you know I'm tiptoeing around 7,500. So I just set it real low. So I'll get that turned back up. I'll probably just set it at $7,000. And I think that'll make a huge difference. But boy, this thing was pulling like a freight train. Hopefully you guys will be able to see that in the video. But the fun thing is take a look at the air fresheners. It's kind of fun to keep those in there because you floor the car and they just turn sideways. So it's so awesome. So anyways, hey, a lot going on in the shop. So we still got the March build coming up. In Minnesota, we've only got so much time. We've only got so many days of nice weather. So we are going to start on that pretty soon, probably within the next 30 days. Look for that video series to come out. That's going to be a fun project. I am really looking forward to building that car, and then really looking forward to cruising that car with the family. So that'll be coming up soon. We're going to be doing a motor swap in a 60s Camaro. So we're going to assemble the engine, swap it out. We'll be doing that here probably in the next couple of weeks. We're going to be tuning on the red car, so look for those videos, and then anything else that comes up in between. So guys, hey, I do appreciate you sticking around. I do appreciate you viewing the channel. Make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons, do all that stuff on there. You know, there's buttons somewhere. Take a look at the other videos. We are going to be in this for the long haul, so we are invested, and as we grow with the channel, we're going to get better equipment. We're going to understand the editing software a little better. All this stuff is still kind of new to me, so So anyways, I do appreciate it, and you guys have a great day. Thanks.